What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. So, I'm over all the allegations and accusations about this aspiration company. Now they're suing Steve Ballmer over fraud because over the Kawhi Leonard contract. Now, I said before, I never thought it was Kawhi Leonard's fault. It's never usually a player's fault in a situation like this. A player just take the money as it comes and take the contract as it comes, and that's what they do. It's always usually owners and people like that who try to pull strings and finagle and get players to lure players to come to teams with different type of additional contracts or maybe different type perks to give a player to make him feel comfortable enough to want to join a team. And I understand there's many teams that do the same thing. It's just that the Clippers are one of those teams that seem to get caught in the act, and they seem to always just be a team that always has a burden over them. And I hate that for the Clippers because, like I said, if you look at them the way they are now, they have to focus more on basketball. They're 3-4. They're playing under 500 basketball. They lost to the Miami Heat last night. They lost to the Thunder last night and lost to the Heat previously the night before. And, Kawhi missed the game-winning shot there and all that, even though he hit the game-winning shot a few nights before that. But even still, you're good enough to beat a team like the Heat. And those are those type losses that will come back and haunt the Clippers in the future, because you have to beat the teams you're supposed to beat when you're classified as a good team or a team that has aspirations to try to win a championship. So, with that being said, the Clippers got to just lock down more on defense. They need to figure out their identity. And their identity, to me, should be more predicated on defense because they got so much athleticism, wing-wise, defensive guys. Plus, you still got probably the best defender of all time in my eyes, Kawhi Leonard. And even though you got veterans who can put the ball in the basket and who can score, I feel like they need to focus more of their have more of their focus on the defensive end, because they have the talent on the defensive end to lock down any team in the NBA. With Chris Dunn and DJ, you're good right there. But then you got Zubac and Brook Lopez in the paint who can block shots, who can hold down the paint, anchor the paint. And you still got, like I said, Kawhi, one of the best defenders of all time, who can still defend. James Harden's not that great of a defender, but he's okay. When Bradley Beal comes back, he's always been a two-way player. He's a decent defender on the perimeter. Maybe not the best, but he's okay. So, my point is, they really have to focus and lock down more on that end of the court rather than just focus on offense and shoot all the threes that they shoot every night and play a lot of stagnant isolation basketball. Now, of course, that's something to improve on, too, but I would like them to just improve on their defense because they have the defensive talent around. They got athletic wings, guys who are long, lengthy, defensive-minded. So, you should be, honestly, in my opinion, I'm not saying they should be 7 or 8-0, but I'm saying they should be like 6-2, 6-1, something like that, or maybe even 5-2 or 5-3, not 3-4 is what they shouldn't be, not with the pieces that they have, because honestly, sometimes you could look at a team like this and they could just win off of talent rather than just winning off of chemistry. They got that much talent on this team, obviously. So they got to do better there. But as far as any allegations or anything like that, they need to let all this stuff go. Because honestly, that's just something over their head that they don't need. And I don't know how much it affects Kawhi. It doesn't look like Kawhi is still putting up great numbers and looking like the player that he always was. But at the same time, it's regardless of what anybody says, it's a distraction. When you have any type of distraction, it can bother a team's chemistry. And a lot of people may not look at it that way, but that's how this goes. That's why chemistry is so hard to be built, and it takes time, and everybody has to put their all into it for it to get to that certain point. And with any type of burdens or distractions, it's just not needed. Now, Steve Ballmer, I don't know what's going to happen with that situation. I think he'll be fine. He'll probably just end up paying a fine, which he's got plenty of money to do that. But honestly, I don't really think they even had to go that route to get an extra contract, to pay Kawhi on the table for him to come to the Clippers, because he was going to leave Toronto anyway. And he definitely probably wasn't going to go to the Lakers because he didn't want to play with LeBron James. And he wanted to come home to L.A. because that's where he's from, in Cali. So him just being out here in the beautiful weather and all that stuff and being near, having home cooking, being near home is all he really was concerned about. I don't even think they had to go that far to get him on that team. I really don't. So I think Steve Ballmer took a huge risk by doing that just to give Kawhi an extra perk, which is great. But at the same time, I guess it might cost Steve Ballmer more so in the end, where maybe they might lose draft picks, money, all that. And then, like I said, with all this scandal stuff going on, it might make other players, if Kawhi leaves the Clippers for some reason or something like that in the future, it might make other superstar players not want to come there. So, I mean, it's a lot that can hurt the team long term. But, I mean, honestly, they got to focus on what's now. And now is for them to try to find a way to win, get better, and be the best team they could be. Because, honestly, 3-4, I didn't expect them to be that out of 7 games. I expect them to be, like I said, 5-2. Maybe even 6-1, somewhere in there. I expect them to be somewhere in there with the team they have. And the schedule they had so far hasn't been that bad. You played Utah first. You got blown out by Utah badly. I mean, you look like a high school team compared to Utah that night. And then they followed up with a W and all that. But it's just been playing. It's just up and down, hit or miss roller coaster basketballs what they're playing right now. And I understand Ty Lue said about 10, 15 games in, we'll see where they are and what they could be. We can kind of figure it out. He'll figure out what's best for the team and be more concise on their route and going in games. But at the same time, they better hope that Ty Lue better hope within 10, 15 games he can do that. Because if he doesn't, this team could fall far behind in the standings. And you keep piling up losses, it's not going to better your chance of at least making it into the play-in tournament. So, I mean, I don't want the Clippers to be in that predicament, but what I'm looking at now, the way they play and missing assignments on defense and just play a lot of stagnant basketball, isolation basketball, that's not going to win you championships. That barely might not allow you to make it in the playoffs. So, forget all the allegation stuff. Steve Ballmer need to get rid of that, fix it as quickly as he can. Everybody just needs to focus on basketball and don't let any of that stuff distract you. Because, I mean, of course, there's distractions around the locker room anyway, just because Kawhi Leonard's name is in it. Ty Lue's name is in the gambling thing. It's distractions are distractions. You may not look at it that way, but when you're trying to build chemistry and win championships, every little thing counts. Any little distraction can hurt. It can. People may not look at it that way, but that's why the teams that win, usually, they don't have distractions around them. Something may come out after they win a championship, but it usually doesn't come out often while they're in the process of winning one. So, I mean, I'm just over all that stuff. I just need the Clippers to play better and be more assertive on the defensive end, and their offense will just fall into place.